It was just a couch, ugly, faded and free. But that night, when I heard breathing from inside the cushions, I realized it hadn't come alone. I was a broke college sophomore, living in a crappy off-campus apartment with peeling paint and a heating system that made more noise than warmth. My roommate, Jason, had just moved out mid-semester, and along with his departure went our only decent piece of furniture, the couch. I didn't have money for a new one, so I did what most students do. I checked Craigslist. There was a listing at the top of the free section, free couch pickup ASAP, decent condition. No stains. Not responsible for what happens after sundown. Craigslist humor, right? The photo showed a basic two-seater with wooden legs and deep cushions. Not stylish, but better than sitting on milk crates. I figured that last line was some kind of joke. The couch was a dark green, almost black in certain lighting. I figured I was doing them a favor. So I loaded it into the back of my friend Max's truck and hauled it back to the apartment. The address was only 10 minutes from me. When I got there, it was already on the curb, like someone couldn't wait to get rid of it. No one answered the door when I knocked. Halfway through, I reached behind the cushion for the remote and felt something tucked deep between the fabric and the frame. It didn't smell. No obvious damage. Honestly, I thought I scored. That night, after unpacking, I sat on the couch and turned on a movie. A folded piece of paper. Just silence.no Max.no Jason. Just the dim glow of the TV flickering across the walls. It was yellowed slightly, edges soft, like it had been there a while. Handwritten in shaky block letters were 5 words, "Don't sit here after dark." I laughed nervously, then looked around the empty apartment. I figured someone was trying to mess with whoever took the couch. Some old superstition. I threw the note on the coffee table and forgot about it. Around 2 a.m., I woke up on the couch. The TV had gone black, still on but muted. Just the wooden frame and fabric, like any normal piece of furniture. Stress? Maybe. Or that in-between state where you're half asleep and hearing things. I went to class, came home, and avoided the couch completely that night. I slept in my bed, door locked. No cars outside, no heater groaning, not even wind. The apartment was colder than usual and the lights I'd left on in the kitchen had gone out. There was no sound until I heard it. A long, slow exhale. The sound came from directly behind my head from inside the couch. It wasn't mine. I froze. Nothing underneath. Nothing behind. I flipped the couch over and checked underneath. You can take my bed. Oh, it didn't happen again. I waited, holding my breath, then stood up slowly and backed away. I pulled the cushions off. Still, I didn't sleep on it that night. The next morning, I convinced myself I'd been dreaming. Nothing happened. Around midnight, Max yawned, stretched, and said he'd just crash on the couch. The following evening, Max came over. He plopped onto the couch with a slice of pizza and laughed when I told him about the note. "That's Craigslist horror marketing," he said, "trying to go viral or some crap." We stayed up late watching a game. I hesitated, thought about the note again, thought about the breath. "You sure?" I asked. He was staring straight ahead at the blank TV screen. "Dude," he said, already lying down. "It's a couch." Hands resting on his knees. By 2 a.m., I was in bed, wide awake, listening. I didn't hear the breath again, but I heard Max whispering. At first I thought he was talking in his sleep. He doesn't like to be disturbed. Then I realized he wasn't whispering. He was answering. Low, murmured responses like a conversation you'd hear behind a closed door. "First come, first served." "What?" he said, rubbing his eyes. "Dude, why are you looking at me like that?" I stepped into the living room and stopped. At the far end, lit only by a flickering streetlight, was the couch. Max was sitting upright, completely stiff, eyes open. "Max?" I whispered. No response. I never saw the man who took it again. But that night, as I lay in bed, door locked and lights on, I swore I could hear it again. I took a step closer. He flinched. "Don't sit here after dark," he said, voice hollow. My stomach dropped. "Max, man, get up," I said, reaching out. Found a weird note in it. giving it away. He blinked hard, like he'd just woken from a nightmare. I told him everything. He said he didn't remember sitting up, didn't remember saying anything. He left that night and didn't come back for weeks. I decided I had to get rid of it. I posted my own Craigslist ad the next day. Free couch, urgent, decent condition. It was gone by sunset. Some guy in a van loaded it up and didn't even ask for help. I thought that was it. 2 nights later, I was walking to class late when I passed an alley near campus. Sitting there, alone. Same rips in the fabric. Same stain under one arm. I didn't go near it. I don't know how it got there. A long, slow breath coming from the hallway, like something was waiting just outside my door, still listening, still watching, still looking for someone else to sit down. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in bed, knees up, staring at the gap beneath my door, watching for movement. My phone was in my hand, but I didn't know who to call or what I'd even say. Hey, there's a haunted couch stalking me. That wasn't going to fly. At some point, maybe just before dawn, I must have dozed off. I woke up to the sound of my front door closing, not slamming, just that soft click, like someone letting themselves out, was back. I bolted up and ran to the living room. The door was locked, deadbolt still turned, and the couch, it sat exactly where it had been before I gave it away, legs resting perfectly in the indentations it had left in the carpet. There was no note this time. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't be in that space anymore. Just something worse. Stuffed between the cushions was my student ID. A wave of relief hit me so strong, I almost cried. I hadn't seen it in weeks. I assumed I'd lost it on campus. But there it was, bent slightly, sitting right where I'd found the warning the first time. I backed away and left the apartment. Over the next few days, I tried everything. I hired junk removal guys, told them it was infested, cursed, whatever. I didn't care. They showed up, loaded it into a truck and drove off. I watched it disappear down the street, paid the penalty, told the landlord someone had broken in and left furniture behind, and he could do what he wanted with it. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. No message, just a photo. The couch, sitting in my living room again, lights off, taken from just outside my bedroom door. I was done. When I stay in a hotel or a friend's house or anywhere with a couch that's old and soft and deep, I moved out the next day, broke my lease. I stayed at Max's for a while, then eventually transferred schools, changed cities, got as far from that apartment as I could. But sometimes, just sometimes, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and hear it, that same steady breath behind me, and I know it's not the couch, not anymore. It's him, whatever was inside it, whatever I let into my home the moment I sat down after dark, and I know he's still waiting for someone else to pick up something free and take a seat. I've spent years trying to forget that couch. I don't keep furniture anymore, not really. I live like bare bed, folding chair, no second-hand anything. If I need to sit, I sit on the floor. If I need to sleep, I double-check every lock, every window, and I never ever fall asleep on a couch, especially if I didn't buy it myself. But a few nights ago, something happened that made me realize I may never really escape it. I was walking home from work late shift, cold night, nothing unusual. As I turned the corner to my apartment building, I saw something sitting in the alley next to the dumpster. It was dark, only the street lamp behind me offered any light. Same scratches along the armrest from where Max had spilled that beer bottle. But even from 20 feet away, I could tell it was the couch. Same color, same sagging middle cushion. It was just their dot again. I never clicked on it, never visited the site. Like it had followed me. I didn't go near it. I ran upstairs, locked every door behind me, and stared out my window until the sun came up. In the daylight, it was gone. Not moved, gone. No drag marks, no trash left behind. Just an empty patch of concrete where something had waited all night. That morning, I opened my email and saw a new Craigslist post bookmarked in my browser history. Post was titled, "Free couch will find you, no photo." Just 2 words in the description. I don't even know if the couch was ever just a couch. Sit down. There was no contact info, no address, but the posting time was 3:12 a.m., the exact time I'd woken up the night I first heard breathing. I don't know what this thing is, a curse, a spirit, a memory that's learned how to live. What I do know is this: it doesn't want to be owned. It wants to be invited. It waits for you to sit, and when you do, it remembers where you live, how you breathe, the weight of you. And when you finally forget about it, when years go by and you think you're safe, it finds you again. Not because it's haunting you, but because it's always been part of you. Because once you sit, you never really stand back up. So if you're scrolling Craigslist one night, broke, tired, looking for something free, and you find a couch just waiting for pickup, check the cushions. If there's a note that says "Don't sit here after dark," listen to it, leave it alone, or you might hear him, too, just behind your ear. At 3:12 in the morning, breathing. That's the last thing I'll say. I've moved twice since then, changed my number. I don't use Craigslist anymore. I barely even sit down if I can help it. I keep the lights on, the doors locked, and I never stay anywhere with deep cushions or old upholstery. But I know it's not over. Not really. Sometimes I'll catch the smell again, old fabric, faint mildew, and something like dust that's been sealed in for years. Sometimes I'll wake up and my apartment will be colder than it should be. And every so often, right around 3:12 a.m., I'll find my front door slightly ajar, like something's already inside, like it's waiting for me to sit down just one more time. So if you ever bring home something secondhand, a couch, a chair, even a mattress, and you find a note buried deep in the fabric, old and yellowed, with shaky handwriting that reads, "Don't sit here after dark. Don't laugh. Don't ignore it. Don't test it." Because the warning isn't a joke. It's a last chance. Before he finds you, too.